Hello and welcome. If you like today's tutorial, please like and subscribe, it really does help. Today we are going to be animating MetaHuman materials, particularly an eye, inside Unreal Engine 5. Here is my project for this tutorial, and what I have is a cube like so, with one of the sides removed, so I can zoom in and out. And then all I've done is added a Quixel Megascans texture, which is like this wood texture. Let me open that up for you. Oh, it's a bit difficult to see. We'll see it in a moment when it's lit. Let me just close all these. Give me a moment. And then obviously, if we come inside here, we have a light. I'm only using a single light here, and it's not even really pointed at my character, which I'm getting to now. There's a camera, and then here is my MetaHuman. One moment. Here's my MetaHuman. And all I've done is downloaded a MetaHuman. Let me light this scene now. There we go. I've downloaded a MetaHuman, and inside the blueprint, which is inside my MetaHumans folder, here I've duplicated the blueprint, and then all I've done is simply remove the body inside the blueprint here in the components panel. And that is it. And then that just leaves us with this head to work with. So the camera, if we switch to the camera, one moment. First I'm going to switch here to cinematic viewport, like so. And then I'm going to switch to my camera. And all I've got is the camera focused on the eye for the tutorial, so we can obviously see the eye. With the scene now described, what we need to do is create a sequencer. So I'm going to come up here to add level sequencer, and I keep mine in cinematics, and this is my test shot. What we're going to do is call this tutorial and hit save. And let me get rid of the old one. Right, so in this sequencer, I'm using 24 frames per second. You can use whatever you like. Hit save. And then I'm going to simply, we can either come here and act as a sequence, or I just tend to drag my camera over like so. Hit save. And then obviously you can animate your camera here. The next thing I will do is I want this to be, say, 500 frames long. And then we're going to drag this camera cut here all the way to the end. So we've got the camera shot all the 500 frames. And then we click here to view the camera cuts. So what we've got so far is this, not much. Okay, I'm going to save all at this point in case we have any crashes. Right, the next thing we need to do is drag in our MetaHuman, or MetaHuman head in my case, and I'm going to drag that in. If for some reason it hasn't created the control rig, you can click track, come up here to control rig, go to asset base control rig, and face control board control rig, like so. And the first thing I'm going to do is make sure I'm on 0 frame, and then I'm going to create a keyframe, and that will give us a base for all our controls on the control rig. On this particular screen that I'm working on for the tutorial, it's not the screen that I would normally work on, and it's not as large, so I'm not going to be using these controls. I'm just simply going to do it over here. And what we want to do is add a series of blinks. And so I'm going to scroll along a little like this, from the facial control board, we're going to find blink. It's easy to do. We can type here and search blink, and it will show us our left eye blink and right eye blink. And I'm going to create keyframes by clicking here, like so. And then I'm going to scroll a little and create keyframes there. But then I'm going to scroll back in between them, create keyframes again. But this time I'm going to open them up and I'm going to type 0.8 and 0.8. And that should give us this. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is select those keyframes. And now this isn't an animation tutorial, but what I want to do is change the eye color every time the character blinks. So if we just do this, and all I'm doing is with those selected, with those three selected, I'm holding down Alt, and then I am dragging like so, with Alt still held down, like so. And then I've released Alt now, and then I'm going to press Alt again, and so on, to duplicate the keys. This is probably too much blinking, but as I said, it's just to emphasize the color changes. So now what we have is again, close up. Okay, it's as simple as that. We now animated a blink. Okay, we can leave the control rig for now, and let's go back to our main mode by clicking up here. Look, you can go to select, and I'm going to select my MetaHuman, and I'm going to edit the blueprint by clicking here. And if we come to our viewport and click on face, and if you scroll down, it's usually element 3 and 4, but if it's not on yours, we are looking for this MI refractive instance, left and right. There's two here, look. So this is the left eye, this is the right eye. And if we open that up, and here are all the parameters for changing your eye. The ones I'm interested in are already checked. So I'm interested in iris saturation, iris UV radius, pupil scale, and then here I've enabled all of these, look, and these down here. So a few of these, let's try saturation. No, in fact, let's start with border width. Watch what happens when I adjust this. The iris kind of disappears, which leaves us with a white, totally blank eye, which I really like. I like that effect. Cool if you're making like a zombie or something, I suppose. And then iris saturation, like so. So if you want to take all the colour out of the eye, you would set that to 0 and so on. Let's reset that to its original. And then these are pretty cool. Iris UV radius, so you can make your eye kind of huge or do all sorts of strange effects. Pupil scale, which obviously is like so. Scale iris with mask. Let's have a look at this one. There we go. So you can get a massive or small pupil. And then all these are to change the color of your eye. So if you have a look, we can change it to a kind of blue by altering these, a bright blue, like so. Here we go. Okay, so you get the general idea. Let's reset all these back to the defaults. Inside our MetaHuman blueprint, we look here, where it says element 3 and element 4. So remember those for your eyes. So now we know that information and that we can alter these material instances. What we can do is go back to our sequencer, go to face, on face, track, and we had a track for element 3 and element 4, like so. Okay, and there they are. Now we have a track for each of those materials. Just click off this. So what I tend to do is do one eye first. I mean, in this instance, we could probably get away with just doing one, but I will show you how to do both. Right, and as you can see, we can adjust everything. We could adjust in the material instance window here. So I'm going to start creating tracks by, again, click parameter and do iris color 1U and iris color 1V and iris color 2U. I think that'll be it for now, but you get the general idea that you can add any of those. Play around with the material instance, find out which ones you would like to animate, and then you just choose them from here. It's already created keys for me here when I created those tracks for each of these. If it didn't, again, just click on each one and create your keys by hitting this little plus icon here. So first, because of the lighting, the eye is dark. Let's change the color of the eye. So what I'm going to do is go to my first blink, and while her eyes are closed, like so, I'm actually going to change the color of the eye there. You don't have to do that. It's just, that's the effect I'm going for. So, but what I'm going to do is, while her eyes are open, I'm going to choose the right color. So if we edit there we go, you see it's starting to change. And there we go. Now she has a blue eye. And what we can do is, as I said, when it's changed there, so watch, I'm going to copy all of these, the base keys, and I'm just going to move them to there, just so I get kind of a reset there. You can right click on your keyframes and you can choose the various types, linear, constant, etc. There's plenty of tutorials about those things. So there we go. So we have our first eye change. Let me just try and get rid of that. There we go. So dark eye, blue eye. And then what we want to do is when her eyes close again, this time, again, what I'm going to do is just go to somewhere where her eye is open, and I'm going to adjust the color. I may adjust the radius, make the eye slightly bigger, maybe the pupil scale, like so. And what I'm going to do is go to where her eyes are closed, like so. And I'm going to drag those keyframes to there. So let's see what we've got now. Good. And with the pupil scale, I'm going to move along a little in the time frame and scale that pupil back down. So what we got now is the pupil animates. So let's try something different this time. So I'll find somewhere where our eye is open again, and this time I might, for example, go with a really blue, like so. maybe even. See, all I'm doing is just playing around with the values so that we can get a glowing eye by playing around with this saturation. Look at this. Like so. And so where's the eye close again? There. So this just masks. You don't have to do the blinking. I'm just, as I said, I am just doing it because it gives me a kind of a way of changing it off camera. So when it's wide open there, oops. Sorry, this isn't very tutorial friendly, but this is just how you have to work. I'm going to set it to 0 there. So then, see how it changed? And like that. And then if I go to further along, and this time maybe Limbus dark amount, that kind of puts that black around her eyes. What I might actually do is set all these to 0. By the way, I'd set that really high there, that they only go 0 to 1. So if I set all these to 0, like so. All the colour to 0, let's set saturation to 0, and Limbus dark amount to 0. So yeah, let's set that there, like so. So then, do that while the eye is closed. So if I went to there, and went like so. And there, I want that UV radius to be 0. Yep. Right, so let's see what we've got so far. Yep, on's okay. So on this next one, I want the UV radius to be like so. So let me do that on an eye closed. There you go. So you get the general idea. You create a sequence and you then create tracks for all those parameters, and you will get this kind of effect. For the other eye, it's quite simple. We have this material 4 here. What you need to do is just copy over the keyframes for each of these. But obviously you'll need to create a track for these as well. So you just repeat the process for your other eye. Finally, I will just show you the opening sequence to show you it's exactly the same. All we have is basically the head. In this instance, I do have the body to move the head up and down. The face is exactly the same. The only difference is I do some work on the skin, because obviously the skin has a material. You can keyframe that too. And then all I do is change the color of the eyes over time. And it's as simple as that. It's just one camera movement. The eyes change color. And as we are going along, the skin desaturates, as you can see there. And also our rect light in the scene here is just having its light color and temperature slowly changed over time. Look, see, there's just how it started. Here is how it finishes. So it's warm at the beginning, and then we get to the end and it is cold. And that's it. It's as simple as that. Go away and experiment and come up with something creative. If you like today's tutorial, please like and subscribe. It really does help. More tutorials are on the way. Thanks for watching.